2, 1, 0.
All right, we are live. Happy, what is today? Wednesday? Oh my gosh. I got a couple very special guests today. We got Paisley Allen up here right there. Paisley, thanks for joining. She is one of our instructors at Ashmont Realty and teaches all the newbies when they get ready for their test. And we have one of our mentors right below. Bree Williams is in the house. So you might have seen Bree and Paisley. I've done a lot of stuff with them. So today, this is a question I get all the time, is questions that I should be asking a broker. So some of the things that, like, you know, when you're a new agent coming through Hondros and things, you don't know what you don't know yet. And there's a lot of questions and things that you might have, and you don't even know what to ask. But we have a great panel here tonight that's going to talk a little bit about questions. And I have something, we're going to do things a little different. If you look in the comments section, so Stephanie says she is here. Hi, Stephanie. Thanks for joining. There is a link. So if you're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, whatever, if you look in the comments section, as right now, we are live, 7 o'clock Eastern time. If you look in the comments section, there is a link. It's a StreamYard link. And what that does is it allows you, if you copy and paste that, it'll allow you to join us on the panel to ask a question if you're not scared. So we're going to see if someone will be brazen enough to join us on camera tonight to ask a question. Now, if you're scared, unlike the ladies here tonight, they're tough. But if you do have a question and you want to ask, then just put it in the comments section, and then Paisley and Bree and I will answer them live. So again, we're 7 Eastern time, April, what is today, the 9th? 8th, or May 8th. Oh my gosh, I'm lost, right?
May,
I'm a month
not April.
Hey, this is live. We screwed it up. It's okay. But so if you have any questions, put it in the comments or copy and paste that link. We'll bring you right on. We'll take you right out of the green room. So let's start. First things first. I'm going to go first. So I think one of the top things that you should be, some questions that you need to ask a broker when you're shopping for a broker. This is my number one. And we're going to go round robin again. If you guys have any questions or want us to keep going on with, dive into a certain one, let us know. So I think the number one for me is culture. Now, a lot of people will say, well, Adam, what does that mean, culture? I don't understand what culture means. But culture basically means like the environment that you're going to be working in. One thing I always tell agents is test drive your brokerage. So, for example, when you are at Hondros, for example, you get bombarded with brokerages that want to talk to you and, come to our brokerage, we're great and things. But the thing about it is the people that you're meeting is either brokers like myself or like HR recruiters. Now, the problem is, especially with the recruiters, when you meet them, they're all cool, right? All brokers are cool, right, guys? Paisley, Bree.
I mean, yeah, they're cool when you meet them.
Cool. All right, there you go. Thank you.
All
brokers are cool and friendly, right? We're all cool and friendly. So is HR recruiters. We're all cool and what have you, right? But the problem is those people you're not really working with all the time, especially a recruiter. Because once you meet them, they, talk up the company, then they slide you over and off to the next person. You need to see what the culture of the company is, see what other agents are like. And one thing and one tidbit that I give is, try to go hang out. Maybe they have an office meeting. Sometimes they have an event. See what the other agents are like, because they will give you great feedback on the culture. Because some companies are more loose and goose. I think like our company at Ashmont, we're pretty flexible, like to have fun, outgoing. But that's not for everybody. Some companies are more rigid. So like Bree and I, we do that Selling Sunset, podcast that we critique some of those California brokerages and kind of debunk things. Some of them are like really uptight. Full suit, sports car, dresses. I mean, that to me looks exhausting. And I wouldn't want to work in an environment like that. I mean, there's no way, right, Bree? So,
I
so
could
I
do
think,
it.
try to visit a brokerage, a potential broker, interview 5 of them, give or take, narrow it down to a couple, and then go meet with them on their, on their turf. If they're having an outing, get together, chili cook off, I don't care, but just don't join a brokerage because the broker was cool. Just don't do it. As much as I don't want to say that. Paisley, were you going to say something? Because you're laughing. So
No, I was just laughing at the chili cook-off.
should we have one? That's what maybe we should. Maybe that sounds like a good time. I like
I
to
mean,
eat
I would say,
clearly.
I would add to that. I would say, don't be afraid to ask around. People that are a part of that brokerage. There's a lot of time you'll hear people say, I can't reach my mentor, or I can't reach my broker. Or when I
Okay.
do ask questions, they act like I'm annoying, or you know what I mean? So it's okay to ask other agents that are a part of that brokerage, or it's okay to put up a status and say, hey, anybody working with brokerage ABC, can you inbox me? Definitely ask around, because you don't want to get stuck
Mhm.
at a brokerage where you need help and you cannot get the help that you need, and you're in the middle of a deal, or you're trying to write a contract and it's 10 p.m.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when you talk to other agents, you're going to get a good feeling if they're happy or not. And agents are our best salespeople. We don't have an HR recruiter at our brokerages because your agents are your best recruiters. You don't need them, and that's an extra cost that you don't have to pay for. If you have a good culture. So, Paisley, do you have anything to add about culture?
Definitely. I would like to piggyback on what Bree said. Definitely shop around and don't be afraid to ask all the questions. And I think sometimes um, the thing is, you don't really know what to ask when you're first starting out. You don't know
Mhm.
exactly what to look for, and it's basically like, especially, it just depends on what program you go through. They have different agents that will show up to these nights that they have, like career nights or whatever. So it's just kind of like that's your pick of, that's what's in your face. So you kind of just like go from that sample, but don't be afraid to look around. And I think the more that you talk to those agents, like before you actually select a brokerage, then you can kind of like compare what they offer, this one against this one, and see kind of what
Mhm.
sounds good for you, and take what they're telling you and use those as questions for the next brokerage that you come across until you find your best fit. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And people
absolutely.
people will
Go
tell
ahead,
you
Bree.
too, like, I tried so and so brokerage and I left it because of this. But you have to pry, you have to ask questions, because some people are not just going to offer you that information.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. What they always say, like, if one person has a great experience, they'll tell one person. If someone has a bad experience, they'll tell 100.
Yep,
So
Yeah.
literally.
that's typically one thing too with culture is not all brokerages are the same. I mean, we have the MLS and all that stuff, but some brokerages, when it comes to time is really important to me. I got 4 kids, teach, and so time is super important. So some brokerages, I think the thing is, like, before you start interviewing these brokerages, is to try to envision what your life you would like it to look like as an agent. Because, not some brokerages might say, hey, you need to come in. Our culture at this brokerage is you come in the office 3 days a week for 4 hours, and answer phone calls, or I don't know what you're going to do there. There's not much to do at an office, honestly. But like, you might want to ask that question. You might say, well, I have a 9 to 5. I can't, the broker, you're awesome. You're cool. But I can't come to the office 3 days a week. I don't have time to do that. So envision what your real estate life would look like, in conjunction with your family and other things. And see if it fits, because it might not fit. I mean, the people might be great, but the time commitment, their culture, just might not be good for you. So culture is a big one, because if you're in a great culture, you're going to grow and have fun. That's the best thing, is when people have a full-time job, and they don't really like their full-time job, but when they do the real estate stuff, they have fun with it. That's a big compliment, because they're enjoying it, but they're working and they're learning. So, all right, Paisley, you were next. What's one of your top tips for an agent?
Starting out, I would say
Yeah,
the
to ask a
first
broker.
one
Mhm.
to ask a broker.
Yeah. What would be one of your top things that and they were sitting in an interview, what
Mhm.
question should they be asking their broker when they sit down?
So I think this is not talked about a lot, which is something that I voiced
Uh-oh.
when I first started out, which is
Uh-huh.
all the money that goes into becoming a real estate agent, especially when
Okay.
you're first starting out. It's just like any other business that you're building. You've probably
Mhm.
invested a lot into that, and now it's time to work on getting a return on that. So something that you want to ask is like, what are my expenses going to look like if I sign with you? Am I going to have monthly expenses?
Mhm.
What fees am I going to be expected to pay? Because that's something important to know when you first start out, especially if you have a 9 to 5, because now that's something that you have to include into your budget for the month, especially if you budget. So you want to know what that looks like, and you want to, have a place where you can add up all the fees and make it make sense before you jump here, especially talking in terms of commission splits and things like that. Like, if you are thinking like, if I have to pay this much money out, then how soon can I make this back, based on the work that I'm
Mhm.
doing and the deals that I put together. So that's a big one, finances for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't have that down. Not all, I mean, becoming a real estate agent's not cheap. Like there's a lot of, you got your schooling up front, then you got your dues with the NAR, and now that it's that's fixed no matter what brokerage you go to, like that's it.
Mhm.
But not all brokerages are the same. Again, I keep saying that they're not all the same, meaning some brokerages, most of them have monthly fees, and the question should be like, well, how much are those monthly fees? What do I get with that?
Mhm.
And they should be giving you a lot of tools such as, lead gen, social media marketing stuff, electronic signature, as well as training, mentorship, E&O insurance. So find out, what the expense is at that particular brokerage, what's the cost and what you get, because not all brokerages are the same, because some brokerages, they'll say, oh yeah, it's $300 a month here, and you get a company car and an office, or I don't know. I mean, everyone's a little different, and you might say like, I don't care about an office. I'm not planning on working in an office. I have my own printer at home, so I don't know if I want to work there, because your culture is you work from that office, but you have to pay for it. Listen, guys, here's a dirty secret. Nothing's free in real estate. Okay. If you
Nothing.
if you have office space, who do you think's paying for that? Ladies? Yeah,
You.
the agent. Everyone at home, you're the taxpayer. Agents are the taxpayers. The broker is kind of like, hopefully they're like the government. They're trying to allocate the money to and hopefully they're listening to their agents. But like all that additional stuff comes from somewhere. Monthly fees, lowered commissions. I think one of you, Bree, maybe had commissions that's coming up. Like, you pay for it somewhere. Nothing is for free.
Can I add something to that
Yeah, go
too?
ahead, Bree.
I want to piggyback off of what Paisley was initially saying, as far as nobody talks about how much money you have to spend when you're in this business.
Right.
Let's go to testing fees and how you have to get your FBI and BCI done, and how every time you fail
Mhm.
in retake, you have to pay that $85 or $81. Nobody
Okay.
talks about that either. So
Mhm.
it's, yes, those fees come and they are set in stone, right? But if you don't pass the first time, you have to pay again and again,
Yeah.
and
Correct.
however many times it takes for you to pass that test. So the hardest part is not interviewing your brokerage. I think one of the biggest things about asking about is the money, as far as the tests and everything as well too. The FBI, the
Mhm.
BCI, and retakes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people got their hands out. And that's one thing, too, when you decide on a broker, because remember, in Ohio, you have to have a broker before you study, before you take your test. So,
Right.
you're coming on to a broker once you make that decision, and then the broker should be helping you and understand the cost that's going to be coming, and getting you ready for that, because there's a lot we don't teach that in school, in real estate school.
Right.
So you got to make sure that, you get with your broker and they start planning, because it gets very, very expensive. So,
And it's
all right, Bree, what do you got? What's that?
I was going to say, it's also one of those things, like Paisley said earlier, you don't know to ask that question.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's why we're doing this. So yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. So, all right, Bree, what do you got? What's
I
something?
have training.
Oh, big
Training
time.
is super, super duper important, because when you pass your test and you become the newest agent at your brokerage, you are going to need your hand held through everything. So you're going to need to know, what type of training program does your brokerage have? Do I have a mentor that I can
Mhm.
call at 11 p.m. when I'm just up thinking about that question, or when I'm up writing a contract? Do I have a broker that I can pick his brain throughout the day and not feel like I'm agitating him?
Mhm.
Also, is my broker going to walk me through my process as far as scheduling my tests and helping me with dot loop and signing my documents? Training is going to be one of the biggest things that I feel like you can ask, because some of these brokerages will, like Adam said, be cool with you, get you in their broker, and then boom, you're on your own. You're going to need your handheld. And so you need to break it down. Hey, I need my handheld. Do you have that type of training available at your brokerage?
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Were you going to say something, Paisley?
Oh no, I totally agree. Those are definitely important, because as you're coming in, like we all have said a couple times, you don't know what you don't know. And
Mhm.
you learn in the program the basics to get you to pass the test and to get you like into an actual brokerage. Everything else that you'll learn how to do, like the paperwork that you're looking at, is hands on. So you want to have, someone in there that is willing and able to assist you, even if whatever time of day, like, you've mentioned, Bree, like you just want to have someone in close proximity to be able to give you those pointers and tips. Like, what exactly am I looking at here? Obviously, we have the internet, but every state is different. And that's something to consider as well. So,
Mhm. Yeah, and that's why, we spend money on the onboarding part of it, so, and, just being, because there's a lot. And one thing, when it comes to training, like, you listen, remember, all brokers are cool, right? But your broker can't be your mentor. Like, we want to, and I say this all the time, like, brokers, we want to be your mentor, and that's the plan, and that's what we say, it's on paper and the whole 9 yards. But the problem is this, guys: when you're interviewing with a brokerage, and again, training is everything. You have to ask the broker, like, listen, how many people work here? And if it's more than 10 or 15, then you have to say, okay, cool. Who's gonna, like, keep an eye on me? Who's my mentor? We name it different things: manager, mentor, captain. I don't know. I don't lead manager, whatever you want to call it, because those are the people who are going to keep an eye on you. Because your broker, there's one broker. So, like, as parents, when you have one kid, it's pretty easy. Two, oh boy. Three, holy crap. And I have four, and it's like holy hell war all the time, right? So but if you get like 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 agents, do you, like, think about it, just do the math. Do you think your broker can handle every little question that you're going to have as a new agent? You
No.
are a baby. Yeah. I mean, you're an infant. When you start in real estate, you say you get 100% on your test. When you start in real estate, you are an infant. You don't know anything. You haven't learned anything yet. And like Bree said, you're going to have a million questions. And your broker, God bless his or her soul, will want to help you, but they're just a human being that have personal lives and other agents that got to help. They're just not going to have enough time to help you. So make sure you have a mentor. And one more thing, and I'll open up to the panel. There's some brokerages, and I think this is great, but some brokerages will give you a mentor for like the first one or two transactions. That's fine. That's better than nothing. But the problem is, like, there's a lot more that you're going to be learning after two, and that's why, like, at Ashmont, the broker, you have your mentor forever, and because you got to have someone to count on forever. You just have to, because you're going to come up with new things all the time. I have a lot of mentees that, have been with me for years, and they call me all the time. Because they just need to, they kind of know the answer sometimes, but they want to like piggyback it off of it. And I always say, like, with your parents, like I'm 46, I think now, I'm getting old, but I'm on the way to 50, but I still call my parents sometimes and ask them, hey, what do you think about this? Like, I know, but you just want that like, just that reassurance. And that's going to go a long ways, because that way, you're not alone, because you can't be successful in anything in life alone. Can't do it, including real estate. So, and panel, do you agree? What's your take?
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And I think too, one more important thing to add is that structure is important, right? You don't want to go to a brokerage that doesn't have any structure, because that's what you're modeling after as a new agent. Like, you don't know exactly like what should this business look like, especially if you've never started a business of your own. You're used to only working for, a company, corporate, whatever. You want to go to a place that has some structure in place. Like, if you don't have a manager, or you don't have mentors, or someone that handles the training, or someone handles this or that, then it's just kind of like, I'm shooting into thin air here. Like, what exactly am I supposed to do? So that's important. You want to go to a place that has established a structure already. So when you are asking these questions, then it's just kind of like, okay, if they have an answer for this or for that, it's like, okay, great. Now we can do something. So. Yeah.
And Stephanie says she must be really old because she's 55. So,
Oh.
All right. And guys, we are live. So if anyone has any questions for me or Bree or Paisley, put them in the chat. And if you're really brave, if you want to come on live, you could be on camera or off and ask a question. Let us know. So we're happy to answer them. Or if you had a question that maybe came up at another brokerage, we're not going to use names or anything, but if you have someone that said, hey, they said this to me and it didn't sound right. I get that all the time. Like they wanted me to sign a contract. I get, like, what? No, don't, we don't need to be doing that, or something weird that seemed to be a one-offer. Like, go ahead, put it in the chat or join live, and we'd be happy to answer those. So, all right, who's up next? Bree, you got something? She's going to say something. Hold on, guys. Go ahead, Bree.
I want to say this. Please do not be afraid to ask about the commission split. It's your time. It's your money.
Yep, we're going to talk
we
about
do very, very, real estate agents do a lot of work to gain, to get that commission. And I don't know if people in school know this, but every brokerage does not have the same commission split. Some have 70-30.
You want to talk about it? Let's segue into commission splits. Go ahead, Bree. You talk. Commission.
To three different brokers. One was 50-50, right? And that, because that was the first brokerage I spoke with, I'm like, oh, that's good, right? But then I spoke with someone that was 70-30, and then I spoke with an 80-20, right? 80-20 is probably the highest that I've seen out there. You do have some that say, hey, if you cap at this amount, then you'll get 100%. Do not be afraid to ask about your commission. It is your time. It is your money. You do a work, and it is your business, and you deserve to know. You deserve to pick your pay. Of course, I would say go with the 80-20, but it's not all about the commission split. Partner that along with how much of your boxes does your brokerage check as well. So don't only make it about the commission split, make it about your training or whatever is important to you first. But also do not be afraid to ask about the commission split, because then you would go to a brokerage and get paid and assume that you're getting paid this because you heard it from another brokerage, but this one has a different split. So make sure you have that conversation as well, and don't be afraid to.
Yeah. One thing, I'm glad you mentioned that, because not all brokerages are the same, guys. I mean, I keep saying that over and over and over. That's why you have to interview a few of them. There are some brokerages, believe it or not, are 100%. Now you might say, well, how that, when people see that, they'll say, yeah, I'm going to do, and it's free 100%. And it's like, come on, does that make any sense? They give you all your commission and they don't charge you anything. How do they keep in business? Right. So, and they'll say, oh, you're probably right. But there are brokerages that are 100%, but you might have to pay a significant monthly fee. But that might be fine for some people, right? that might be fine for someone maybe who's more established or something like that. But the thing is, there's an old saying that it's better to earn 50% of $1 million than 100% of zero. So you got to find a healthy balance between like training, having a mentor, support, and then also to that commission split. Commission split needs to be something you ask and talk about. But that's got to be up there, but if you're not getting any training or support, then you probably aren't going to earn any commission because you don't know what the hell you're doing, so, because I get students that I meet back up with after they pass their test, and I'll ask them how's it going. And I can tell you the number one reason why, if it's not going well, it's that they're lost. They don't know what they're doing. They have no training or support, and but they have great commission splits. And it's like, well, yeah, but you don't know what you're doing, Or they'll say, well, they have great splits, but they don't help us with training, or they don't give us any frills. Like, well, because you're not giving them any, you're not paying them anything. They have good splits, but as a newbie, you got to be careful. Splits are good, but also to make sure you have that training as well. So it's you got to find a healthy balance for sure.
And everybody doesn't have the same seniority, if you will, of things that are important to them, right? So where I say my training is more important than my commission, someone else might say my commission is more important than training. Just make sure that before you start to interview brokerages, that you actually do a list of what's important to you in order, because then you're going to ask those questions in order. But yes, find a healthy balance, because nothing from nothing leaves nothing. So if you go to a brokerage just for the commission, because you passed the test, you're not going to get anything, because you're never going to see anything on that test ever again. So, yeah.
We have a question. Stephanie asks, is this MLM? I'm not sure what that means. Fill us in, Stephanie. I'm not sure what that means. If it's a inside thing, or I'm not sure. Okay. Anyone else have anything? I talked commission, culture, training, commission. You had a few, Bree.
I did.
Do you have any? Go ahead. Go up next, and Paisley, you can go after. What do you have next, Bree?
My last one was just at our brokerage, we do weekly meetings where we're kept up to date on the markets, commissions, the case that just came about. I don't know about some of you in school, but my life is really, really, really busy. So I maybe get 1 or 2 days out of the week where I'm able to catch myself up on the real estate world. I think it's nice to have a brokerage who takes 1 day out of the week, every other week, to keep us updated on that type of thing, where there's a lender in there who tells you, hey, this is what the numbers are looking like right now. We either took a dip or we went up. That's also important. It kind of goes with your training, keep you in the know.
Yep. Paisley, were you have something to?
Yeah, no, I agree. You both have covered it. My biggest things were the monthly expenses and the broker benefits. So definitely you want to know exactly like what are the benefits of choosing a certain brokerage. You want to know like the leads and how involved are they in the community around you? Like how are agents promoted? Like, is there like, how would anybody know about you? Is it your job to completely like build yourself from the ground up, like with your own knowledge, or is there a benefit to this? Or is there someone that is helping you, or giving you promotion, or, helping you connect with people around you? So those would be my big takeaways for sure.
I want to touch on leads in a second. But Stephanie clarified here. Here we come. She's saying, is this like multi-level marketing? I mean, I think there's maybe some brokers are structured that way. The key is, who cares? I don't know. I don't care. But the only thing that you should care is like, is the person maybe that I guess the person that may be getting a kickback off of your success is fine as long as they're helping you. Like, I guess you need help. I mean, where that money goes, I guess it doesn't make a difference. A lot of companies will do like referral fees. Like if you refer an agent to that brokerage, they get like some sort of bonus or something. That's fine. Who cares? But the question is, like, if they referred you, are they responsible for you? Like, are they responsible for your success? If the answer is no, okay, no problem. But who is? You got to have someone that's like keeping an eye on you. It doesn't have to be the person who's getting a kickback on everything that you do. But you better have someone like that's keeping an eye out. And it just unfortunately can't be your broker unless you work for a little brokerage. Like, if there's only 5 people in that brokerage, it's a small operation boutique, I think is what we call it. That's fine. That'll work. 5-10 people. That's kind of how it used to be. But now brokerages have got bigger, and that's the hardest thing, is to keep it structured where everyone's, kept an eye on and no soldiers left behind. Paisley was in the Air Force. That's why I'm making the soldier reference. So thank you, Paisley, for your service. Let's talk about leads, because that is a question I get a lot interviewing new agents, is leads. Like, do I get leads? Leads. Some brokerages, I was talking to one of our agents last week. We were talking about some brokerages will pay to have leads for their agents. Some brokerages, will have like systems that like drive traffic on your social media to get online leads. Some brokerages will pay, to have realtor leads or Zillow leads or something like that. Now, the question is is one better than the other? The answer is, well, it depends, kind of going back to what Bree always said, like, what's important to you? Because again, Zillow and realtor, they're not like exclusive to a brokerage. Any agent can go out and buy them if they want to, but some brokerages will buy them. But then guess who really pays for the leads? The agents, right? Paisley, come on, point. You got to do your pointing out there. There you go, right? So that's the thing. Like, she's like, oh, my friend, she's at this brokerage and she gets Zillow leads. It's like, okay, great. Yeah. I mean, are you wanting to buy Zillow leads? Because, at our brokerage, we don't make agents pay for leads because not all of them want to do it, right? And the problem is, it's like, well, what's the split? Oh, it's 50-50. And then I'm like, okay, let's use math. Because that's what you have to do when it comes to commissions. Is a lot of it's math. It's like, well, how much are the leads? I think it's like $1,200 a month. Okay. How much? And she got a listing out of the leads, right? And then it was a good listing. And what we found out was that, like, for her being like at a 50-50 compared to an 80-20, she was leaving about $5,500 on the table on commissions. And it's like, she should just go buy her own leads. Buy your own leads. Like, you don't, but see, again, it sounds great. Like, oh, I got leads from this brokerage and it sounds great. Like, they're paying for it, but you pay for it. And not only that, she paid it 5-fold. She paid it 5 times more than she should have. So, some brokerages, like, I always felt that, 3 principles. One is, have a great commission split for your agents. That was one. The second is agents should have great splits, but also support and training. And the third thing is that, they need to have a place to grow, to be a manager and a mentor, like Bree's a mentor, and help other agents and build teams and stuff. So, but when it comes back to have a great commission split at a low cost, because not every agent is going to want to go to a brokerage where they have to every month be pumping out bad commission splits, because 50-50 guys isn't great. That's not very good at all. I mean, just now, if you asked me that question 20 years ago, I'd say, yeah, it's pretty standard, but it's just not anymore. But like you might get leads, but you paid for it. Your brokerage is making a lot of money, even though they're floating the bill. It might be better for you just to say, you know what, I'd rather get on a platform that's low cost and I'll do the leads, or split it with another agent, and split the leads, because you'll get more leads paying a monthly fee to Zillow than you would more leads you could ever run. I mean, you just have too many of them. You could split it with other agents in the company and get that cost way down, but be it a good split. So I don't know. Again, not all brokerages are the same. Ultimately, no matter how shiny the package is, ultimately, when you peel the onion layers back, the agent pays for it. It's always been that way, and it always will. So, what's your guys' take on leads, ladies?
As far as paying for leads,
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, what's your
I'm one of
thoughts?
the agents who does not like to pay for leads. I don't like to pay for
Yeah,
leads. I think it's a
I don't
waste.
either. Yeah.
Um, I'm a big marketer. Like, market yourself,
Mhm.
have conversations. Don't be afraid to tell people that you're in real estate. You never know who you're talking to. You never know what phase of their home buying or selling journey that they're in. Like, I got a lead in Walmart, and the conversation started from the lady talking about a hoverboard. So if I'm getting leads like
Wow,
that, or
that's a whole podcast within itself.
yeah, and I got
Went from a
about
hoverboard to selling a house.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's because you have
Mhm.
to not be afraid to have conversations. And about
Right.
90% of my leads come from people seeing my social media. So
Mhm.
I feel like buying leads would be a waste for me.
Yeah.
But I'm not knocking agents who prefer that.
Yeah. Yeah. You before you pay for leads, you really need to because a lot of that stuff, like, we our meeting today, we talked about landing pages and stuff. We have a program that does landing page. That a lot of that, not Zillow and Realtor necessarily, but bold leads, Boomtown. That's what those are, landing pages, and you're paying for it. But your brokerage should really have a technology that does it for you. And now some of them, guys, just another question when it comes to commission splits. If you drive a lead, if you get a lead from the company, okay, somehow by like their marketing of sorts or whatever, you better ask this question, because a lot of brokerages will say, well, that actually was stemmed from our technology, and you're going to have to pay a referral fee. So you might be, let's just use math, like 50-50. Say you're 50-50. But if you get a lead through your brokerage, like, their leads they're paying, or through some sort of their technology, a lot of them will say, well, since that came from the company, then you got to pay a referral fee. And a lot of the time it's 20 to 25%. So now you went from a 50-50, or let's just say 75-25, take 25% off right off the top, and so it doesn't sound as sexy. Another thing too, quick tip too, is franchise fees. I know we're doubling back a little bit. A lot of brokerages have franchise fees.
Mhm.
Um, but
Just run.
what's that?
I said just run. Just run if you
Okay.
hear.
Well, yeah, I'll touch on franchise fees and I'll open it back up. So if you guys have any questions on this, we are live. It's Wednesday, May 8th, not April 8th. I said it wrong earlier. But if you have any questions on this stuff, please put it in the chat. Franchise fees. One thing I want to make it clear is you can brokerages, a lot of us see the same names on the doors. Like you can drive down the street and see a brokerage, and then you can drive down the street and see the same brokerage again. And you'd be like, oh, wow, okay, they're everywhere. Brokerages that are franchised are operated and owned independently. Okay. The best way I can explain it when it comes to franchise fees is that, say you want to open up a restaurant and you use McDonald's, for example. In the world of real estate, this is how it works. Your McDonald's real estate company, your McDonald's, again, has McDonald's on the marquee. You sell hamburgers. You go right down the street to another McDonald's that's independently owned and operated. That's the key. Independently owned and operated. They might sell tacos. You go down the road to another McDonald realty company, same name, same marquee, same colors. They sell, I don't know what else. I don't know what else is out. Chicken. That's how it works. So you literally can interview 3 brokerages with the same name, but have different food selections. So you want to check on that. Now, one thing they do all have in common is this something called a franchise fee, meaning, and I didn't understand this when I first started. They don't talk about this. This is kind of something they kind of tell you later. But when you get your commission, so say you sell a home for you get a $10,000 commission check. Okay. So, and you're a 50-50 split with your broker. So you get $5,000, right? 10,000 gross commission, you get half of that. So you got $5,000, coming to you, you think. Then you find out you have to pay a franchise fee. And sometimes that could be 2-3% up to 8%. So out of the $5,000 out of your cut, they're going to take another several percent off of that, which could be several $100s. And what that goes to is the rights to use the name, the franchise name. The brokerage doesn't keep the money. The broker doesn't keep that money. They have to push it up. I always call it the mafia, right? And, you have to ask your question. Like, if you work at a brokerage or thinking about it, Google their headquarters, Google how much the CEO makes every year. That's where that money goes. It goes to the franchisee, who started the company or whatever, that it covers all of their overhead. Some agents love it. They think it's great because they can use the logo and that means something to them. Other agents are like, I've never got a lead from corporate. What have they done for me or whatever it is? So that's something you got to think about. So ask about the franchise fees, because that is something that we do not advertise when we have career nights like Paisley was talking about earlier. They don't put on their poster, hey, great splits, and you got to pay an 8% franchise fee. Come work here, right? They don't talk about that.
Yeah.
So, I just went on a tangent. So anything else, ladies? And again, guys, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. We'll be happy to answer them. We still got several people staying on, so they must be entertained a little bit. So anything else that you guys have that you want to share?
No, I agree with what you said. I don't like those kind of surprises. I like to know exactly what my money is going to look like after I close a transaction. And I don't want, a surprise like, oh, I'm new, I didn't ask. So now, it's unexpected money missing. And I have heard that before from just agents, like new agents. There's different community postings and stuff like that. And they talked about, the surprise fees that may come up. So it's something to ask if you want to know. So
it's really just, it's your responsibility to do your due diligence on your brokerage. So make sure that you ask everything and don't be what Paisley said, these agents out here who are in these community postings going on tangents about things that they didn't know. Just make sure that you ask. And if you don't know what to ask, go to someone who might be an agent, or maybe ask your instructor, or there are a lot of resources that you can use before interviewing. It's very, very important to know what to ask.
Yes. Yeah. Go to Google. There are lots of articles out there now that tell you exactly like what to ask when you're interviewing a new brokerage, resources that you need as a new agent. Like, we are in the age of information. So everything that you need at your fingertips, if you do a quick search, you can probably find it, or at least like the foundation to it, to where you can tap on someone and ask them. I was going to say something else and I totally forgot what I was going to say.
That's okay.
It'll come back to me in a second.
All right. Yeah, but I think the key thing is, guys, interview a few brokers. That's the key. Interview a few brokers, feel them out. You're going to whittle them down, because not all of them are going to be in your culture. It doesn't feel right. It feels weird. You just can't, it just doesn't feel right, like a good fit. Then whittle those down, measure up, like Bree was saying, like commissions and, what's your training and support like. And you're going to whittle 5 or 6 brokerages down to maybe 2, if you're lucky, hopefully get it down to about 2. And then what you'll want to do is then test drive the brokerage. Again, say, hey, can I come and hang out? I got, you and somebody else. Oh, Paisley remembered. Go and hang out with them. You know, if they're, again, the chili cook-off, Paisley's she's gonna spearhead that this fall for sure. I can tell. But you know, yeah, this is great. We came up with some great stuff tonight. So, but you know, go hang out with them, see what they're like, the other agents, and if you can get along with the agents and they're happy, there's a pretty good chance that you'll fit right in and start growing with them. So, Paisley, what did you have to say before we get off? What were you gonna say?
That I was going to say, that's one thing about real estate is that, first of all, it's not too late. Even if you have started with someone and now you're watching this video and you realize there's a lot of things that you didn't ask, or some things that we talked about, you realize that, you know, it happened to you and maybe you decide you want to make a switch. Now you know what to ask if you decide to move on. And also, why did I? Oh, well, no, I lost it again.
Lost it out, man. All right.
So let me piggyback off of that.
Okay, say
it.
It'll probably
because I'm so glad that you said that, Paisley, because it's okay to go to another brokerage from another brokerage if it's not for you. If you test drove it and you liked it, and then you went ahead and committed to the brokerage, and you're like, you know what, this is really just not it. It's okay. It's your business, right? You don't work for your broker, you work with your broker. So it is okay to say, hey, this is not for me, and still remain intact with the previous broker. It's just, it's not a one size fits all thing. So you might get in your first brokerage and say, you know what, you are so nice, but I need more in-depth training. And I think that another brokerage, I think this fits me more over here. It's okay. Just be forward. Don't be sneaky about it. Just do what you got to do for yourself and your business.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Paisley, you remembered it? Go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to finish up and say that the thing about real estate is that it will definitely teach you to speak up for yourself, for sure.
Absolutely.
If you have been passive, or, you know, you're used to kind of just going along, you have to advocate for yourself. Even if a brokerage or broker or another agent that brings you on has the best intentions, in the end, you have to learn how to ask the questions and advocate for yourself. And that's how you'll know if this is a good fit or not, even if you've been there for however long. So that's it.
That is a huge takeaway. You will learn to speak up for yourself in ways that you never have if you're a passive or like a non-confrontational type person, right? Not saying that you're going to now have a lot of confrontation in your life. That's not it. But just learning that this is your business and you have to set your boundaries and learn how you are and are not going to run your business. And you have to weed out the things that get in that path. So 100%. I'm so glad you said that.
All right. Well, good job, ladies. Interview a few brokerages, and like Bree said, you know, if it doesn't work, it's okay. It's okay to move to another one if it's not fitting but don't rush it. Just don't rush it. And it's never too early to meet. So with that being said, guys, have a good evening. For my panel, thank you so much, ladies. We will see you all very soon, and see you out on the streets, hopefully, selling those houses. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.